calls now. Oop.
Oh, really?
Hi, everybody, and welcome. Welcome, welcome. So happy to have you here today. And so we have what I think is an awesome topic to share with you today. Actually, I'm going to turn off those pesky notifications right now so we don't get any interruptions. There we go. Do not disturb. All right, everybody, welcome. Leslie Bytel here, business coach and mentor. And I am here with my very good friend and colleague, Kathy Lowe. So say hello to everybody.
Hey, everyone! It's so great to be here. It's really awesome to be here with you, Leslie.
Yeah. So Kathy and I go back, years now.
Yeah, way back.
Right? We met in Los Angeles. I don't know, at least 4 years ago,
Yeah,
would you
I think it
say?
was.
Maybe even
I think
around
it was
there.
4 years ago. 20. Yeah.
Yeah. So we met actually at a mastermind.
Hmm.
And this was in Los Angeles, and we instantly connected, became fast friends.
Yeah.
And since that time, Kathy has been helping me and my business by really taking over my paid ad strategy. So she's awesome at what she does, and really excited to have her here today. So today we are going to talk about 5 easy strategies to build your audience of raving fans. And I just think this is an incredibly important topic because let's be honest, at the end of the day, especially if you're wanting to move into a leveraged business platform, right,
Mhm.
where you're able to leverage your time by offering groups, by offering, courses or creating that passive income, that coveted passive income that we
Right,
all
right.
desire.
Or
um,
just income.
Income in general, right? Right?
Exactly.
Or even
So how it
just
comes
good
to.
old fashioned income through one-on-one clients.
Hmm.
It's critically important. We got to get the leads, right? We have to get those
Yeah.
inbound leads coming into our businesses that are going to be a good fit for what we do. And that is what Kathy specializes in. So let me just kind of give you a quick overview of a few of the things that we're going to be talking about today. So we are going to be touching on really how to get traffic to your website, right? And
Yeah.
how to grow your email list. I would say that is going to be the focus for today. And we're going to share, really open the hood, why building a loyal audience is really the magic ticket to a profitable business. All right, got to turn that phone off. We're going to talk about the 5 simple strategies to help you grow your audience full of loyal fans. You're going to learn which strategies will lead to the biggest spike in your list and how to prioritize, what to do to get started. And of course, many more pearls in between.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Kathy, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and, you know, how, because I know your background.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you came from pharma. I came from pharma. So we have
Yeah.
a
Yep.
lot in common
That's
there.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us, how in the world did you end up doing paid ads for people?
Well, so my background, like many people's, I started off in corporate. I worked in advertising for packaged goods, and I worked in pharma. And I always just had this burning passion to do something creative, do something on my own, be an entrepreneur, like so many of us. And so I went off the deep end and I started my own jewelry business. And while at the time, what was most common was to sell wholesale. So I sold to other galleries and boutiques. But the internet and e-commerce was just getting started. And so I was able to learn how to use Google Ads, which is the predominant ad platform for small businesses at the time. And then Facebook rolled. But first of all, Facebook became dominant, and then it rolled out its ad platform. I think I was like one of the first advertisers on their platform way back in the day. And combining what I know from running a small business as well as my corporate experience, I really had a lot of skills to be able to figure out the platforms and do really well for my own business. And as time went on, I had kind of done my jewelry dream. There's a lot to it. It's a very physical endeavor. You have to be in the same place. And I, for the stage of my life, I wanted to be more mobile. And so I was able to take those skills of understanding advertising and growing an online business and consult with others. And so that's what I do. And I love it. And, the platform, things are always changing, which is challenging and fun. And at the same time can be frustrating as well. But it's been a great journey.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to me that you started in the jewelry design business.
Yeah.
So you've got like both sides of that brain.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
That creative side, and of course the more analytical and techie side.
Yeah.
I've worked with you long enough to know that you're amazing at tech as well.
Yeah.
So that is pretty darn impressive. So I could talk to you all day about the jewelry side, but let's go ahead and jump into really what I think is going to be super helpful for our audience today. Well, first of all, what do you mean by audience? Maybe that would be a good place to start.
It's a really good question. And, it's really important to have, I think there's a lot of definitions, a lot of words we can use, but I think an audience is a following of individuals that are aware of the work that you do and what your mission is in the world, and that you're able to get in touch with them. Because I think a lot of, ultimately we're going to want to sell our products and services, and we need a group of individuals that we're talking to that are going to be receptive to that. And so it's really important to have an audience because, a lot of businesses, they wait until they have something to sell, or they have a launch, or they're finally ready to sell. And then who do they speak to? And so it's really important to build up that following and be nurturing those individuals so that the sales process just comes naturally. It's just something that you talk about. And then when that person has that need, people don't always have the need for what you offer. And so instead of them going to, they already know what you want. And so they finally get to a point where they have that need, and who do they turn to? They turn to you. So That's why it's really important to have an audience that you can access.
Now, when you say audience, are we talking email list? What are we specifically?
Yeah, so that's a really good question too, because there's so many different ways you can build an audience. You can have a Twitter following, you can do it on Instagram, Facebook, obviously. You can have, audiences there. You can do, there's Pinterest. I mean, LinkedIn, there's so many platforms. Mm-hmm. And, email is the dominant platform right now, even though it's the oldest and, interesting that
sometimes frustrating, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's
those open rates. Right.
I mean, there's definitely limitations to email, but I think what I always recommend is that you have email as your dominant place or your hub. And then as you grow, and have one social media outlet that you enjoy, that you like, that you feel that your audience is really taking advantage of. And then as you grow, you can expand those social media channels. But email is the predominant channel because, for lack of a better word, you own it. You have those email addresses. And yes, there's limitations in delivery and people, and there's limitations in terms of, email can seem saturated. But I think it's the one channel that everyone still uses. And like I said, you own it. Even if you switch email service providers, you can still take that email list with you. And for a lot of social media platforms, you can use that email list as an asset to reach your people through their paid ad strategies. So yeah, email all the way. That should be the number one. I think when someone starts a business, is their number one decision, their first decision is to be, what's their email service provider? How are they going to get people on their email? How are they going to start talking to people via email?
I love that.
I mean, you can build a big business just through email alone.
I totally agree.
Right? I mean,
right?
Yeah. And then start getting their addresses if you want to start sending. I know it sounds old-fashioned too, sending them postcards, but nobody gets anything through the mail. Or if you want to
honestly, that is like amazing now. Like anytime I get anything in the mail, oh boy. Can you hear the pop?
I can.
Let me grab her.
Okay. Let's see her. I put mine away.
So somebody is excited here.
Is that Poppy?
This is Piper.
Piper.
Hey, Piper.
I wish I had Gruner here. I put Gruner away because, as you know, she barks. Someone always shows up at the front door, and then she just goes bananas. So,
Yeah, I think she senses my husband is coming back, and
yeah.
like they
Oh,
have
yeah. She's excited.
they have that power. So she's all
Yeah.
excited and crying. So anyway, so that was Piper, guys. I completely agree. Like sending things in just regular mail now is huge. The one
Yeah.
thing I want to clarify is, and I think we'll dig into this a little bit more, is the idea of using social media to grow your email list. So I do want to
Yes.
clarify that with
Yes.
everybody.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and I believe Kathy and I agree on this wholeheartedly, it's so important to remember at the end of the day, that's really your purpose on social media is to
Exactly.
drive traffic. Yeah. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's a really good point. Is that, like, think of email as your hub, and then you're using social media to get people to ultimately give you their email address so that you can stay in communication with them on and off, whether or not you're on the platform. If the platform disappears or is no longer popular, or for whatever reason you're not able, you're banned or you're put in jail on it,
Right.
which happens. So yes, everything's about using your social media activity to drive people ultimately to your email. I mean, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Or even think of all your marketing activity. So, where you want to start with email, and it may be a common, is you want to have some way that you can ask people for their email addresses. And that's commonly like a common term for it is called a lead magnet, but
Oh
you can do
yeah.
an offer. And basically it's just a tiny piece of information, depending on what you're selling. It can be a discount code, it can be a video of a presentation that you've given, but it's something of value that somebody will give you their email address for. I mean, even back in the day, people would call them newsletters, and it was just, stay in touch with me and give me your email. And sometimes that's enough. I mean, I think that, most potential customers and clients, if they see someone that they're interested in, or they think they're really smart, or they like their philosophy, they're willing to give you their email just to stay in touch, because that's how do they get reminded of information, or they want to hear from you.
Right.
But the most common way is to give them something of value, because then you can also demonstrate what your philosophy is, what value you offer. And that
Yeah.
you can spend days, months, weeks, whatever, years putting together your lead magnet. But what my recommendation is to keep it just at the beginning, just keep it super simple. Because
Mm.
how many times have you stopped not to sign up for something because, like, oh, maybe that lead magnet's only that's not going to be a value, or I don't really want that. I mean, really, you want to hear from the person. So I would just keep it really simple, maybe a one-page PDF. And what I think some good direction is either the most common question that you get about the field that you're in, the business that you're in, either your most common question or
Mm.
the most common issue that you wish somebody had addressed before they started working with you.
Mm.
So
Mm.
no, so
I
just
love
yeah,
that.
so just
So basically, you're giving people ideas right now on like, well, what should that lead magnet be
yeah,
about?
exactly,
Because that's, I mean, that's kind of the struggle. It's like, okay, well, I would do it if I knew
right,
what to do it on, right? It's
yeah,
coming up with that really compelling, juicy topic that is going to compel people to give you their coveted email and
yeah.
information on how to stay in touch. So, can you repeat those two ideas?
Yeah, so what I would do, just a second, I would either answer the most common question that you receive about your
Mhm.
business.
Okay.
And even if you think stupid, simple and stupid, people are asking the question, answer the
Mhm.
question. And like you
Okay.
can even do it and then the other is, what does somebody need to do to start working with you? So if there's some sort
Mm.
of activity or some sort of project, or they need to answer information or do research, like for me,
Mhm.
before people start working with me, they need to set up a Facebook business manager and an ads account. That's a huge advantage if somebody already has that.
Mhm.
So that's like a lead magnet that I've created, is teaching people how to set up their business manager, excuse me, how to set up their ads account and their Facebook pixel. So kind of like the basics of my business.
I love that. So, like, and that is going to kind of prep them
Exactly.
to be comfortable in taking that next step, which is obviously working with you, right? Like a paid, you okay?
Yeah.
As they say, went down the wrong tube.
I need
So,
something with seeds. Some kind of little.
uh,
So, but anyway,
yeah.
so that's
So
what I would
what,
do.
so you would just like do a PDF
I would just to
that
start.
answers
Just,
one of those, yeah, just as a starting point. And one of the things that I know we always talk about is you have to test. Let's be honest,
exactly.
it's all a test, right? Because we can think we have the most brilliant idea in the world, but at the end
Right.
of the day, it really is a test to see, well, is this compelling for my audience? And sometimes, like the concept could be very compelling. It's just the title isn't quite right, or
Exactly.
maybe the graphic isn't
Exactly.
quite right. Like there's a lot of different things to look at
Excuse me.
before we jump to any conclusions as to whether or not this is, a good lead magnet. So, yeah, do you want to comment on that?
Exactly. There's the testing. And also, there's something about once you're in action, then you are starting to get feedback from individuals. You're starting to get maybe different questions. You can see how you can improve your lead magnet. But often, when you're in the like planning phases, you can't see that. You just have all these ideas. You're not sure. You're afraid. You just get stuck in the spin cycle. You don't think it looks good enough. So, but you don't have a designer yet. And it just never gets done. And so I think the answer is just do it, make it ugly, aim for mediocrity, get it out there.
Right.
Because once it's out there, you're going to be collecting leads, you're going to be communicating with your audience, you're doing the work. And to your
Mm-hmm.
point, you can just start iterating on that and making improvements on that. But you're out there, you're doing the work, you're going to be so much further ahead if you just start doing it and not worry about being a perfectionist and it being perfect. The other
Yeah.
thing I think people, oh sorry.
Yeah, I was going to just say perfectionism with my audience, big challenge for most of us.
Yeah.
So done is better than perfect, guys. Just remember, you just want to get
Especially
it
with a
done.
lead magnet. I mean, really, it's going to feel awful. It's going to feel ugly. It's going to be hideous, but like, don't worry about it. Like, really just start doing it, collecting, a goal of one sign up a day or one sign up a week. Like, just start doing it. The other place where people get really hung up, and I'm going to give you, is which email service provider to use. So, what I'm going to
Oh
tell you
gosh,
is you have
let's
two
talk
choices.
about that.
If you're new, you have two choices. You're going to do either MailChimp or ConvertKit, and you're going to flip a coin. And heads is ConvertKit and tails is MailChimp, and just do it. Like, there's no gain in like asking and researching, and it doesn't matter. Just do one, just do it. Give yourself a year, then you can switch.
Okay, question about that.
Yeah.
So this was a question that came up yesterday in my
Okay.
six-figure biz academy. So Karen, if you're watching, this is for you.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts about switching? Like, is it easy to switch? Is it, so like, let's say you've already built up this list,
Yeah.
right? Can you just upload that email list into a different platform?
Yeah. So switching, if you have the tech skills, is fairly simple. Basically, you
Mhm.
export your list from email email service provider A into email service provider B,
Okay.
and they all have, and even some of them can even help you move it from A. But the thing is if you have, depending on how complex your list is, if you have tags or if you have multiple lists, it could
Mhm.
be a little bit it could be tedious because you've got to upload all those lists. In
Mm.
theory, it's simple. There's probably, again, not a big reason to do it unless you're just running into something. Like, I know for some people, they don't like the templates in MailChimp, or they don't, or etc. But if it
Mhm.
comes to like I wouldn't do it necessarily because of price, because they're all
Mm,
competitive with each other. And so they keep the pricing kind of the same.
right,
But, and that's why I say, hey, take one and stick with it for a period of time. Maybe a year is too much, maybe 6 months.
right.
And if you want to move, move. But generally, there's not, until you've got a really big list and you can really
Mhm.
negotiate rates, or maybe you've got an assistant who's running your email and they have a really strong opinion. But like when you're small, just focus on getting people on your list. Don't get as hung up on the technical pieces, right? Do the work
Agreed.
of getting people on the list and then nurturing your list. That's
Okay.
another thing that it's so important to be consistent. And what I recommend is, you pick how often you're gonna reach out to your list and just do it. And this is where that perfection dragon can really, really drag you down.
Hmm.
So, because you feel like, oh, I have nothing to say, or you didn't email last week, so you don't want to email this week, and then all of a sudden it becomes 3 months, and then you feel like they're dead, so then you don't talk to them, and don't do any of them. Just email them every week, even if it's just hello. This is what I think about X, or just send a link to an article. Like, what did you think about this? Like, just
Hmm.
keep yourself top of mind, and don't pay attention to those, especially in the beginning. Don't pay attention to the open rates. Don't pay attention to any of it. Just build your list, because I promise you, people are paying attention and they're watching. They may not be opening, but they see your subject line, they see
Mm.
your inbox, they see you land every week. They see the wins that you have, because obviously that's something that you're going to talk about in your, when you email your list. So just keep doing it. I mean, just be a robot in that sense. And it's hard. I get it, because you don't always want to do it, or you forget about it. So be consistent and do it.
Yes. Just do
Okay.
it.
Yeah. The other thing that I think is, like, if you do get behind, just start emailing again. Don't apologize, or I know I've
Mm.
been, don't call attention to that. Just
Yeah.
like get back on the
Just
horse,
ease back. Just jump back into the
be
saddle.
confident. Okay, and here's something that's going to be really different than what you may hear from other marketers or gurus. But I am not a fan of deleting anyone from your list, like, unless they ask you to. Obviously, you have to
Right,
unsubscribe.
right.
But you'll see times where people like cull their list down, and then their open
Yes.
rate goes up. Well, of course, because you like reduce the denominator. But especially when you're small, and a small means like under a list of under 10,000.
Hmm.
Don't call down your list, because even though like somebody may not be open, you may be opening every week, or they haven't responded to you, they may still be watching you. And you've spent a lot, especially in the beginning, there's been a lot of hard effort to get someone on your list. Don't diss them.
I
So,
agree with that.
yeah,
Like, I 100% agree. Like, I see that a lot.
yeah,
People going in their list and just like, because I've gotten those emails too, like, hey, Leslie, are you still there? Like, I'm going to delete you from my list unless you like open this email or something like that.
which
And
is
it's
kind of
so,
mean. Because if you think
it,
it, like if I called you, texted you, and said, "Hey, Leslie, if you don't answer my text, I'm going to delete you from my contacts." Like, why would you do that? Like, I find it kind of offensive, but
I
but
think it's strange. I don't like it. And I don't recommend it either because yeah, just like, I mean, the reasons you said,
yeah,
it just doesn't make sense to me. So why do people do it? Is it just to increase their open rate?
I don't think
Or
so.
is it because of is it the money, right? Because if you go past a certain
Well,
level, maybe that's why.
there could be that. There could be that people are trying to keep their costs down, and I feel like that's not a cost you want to keep down. I think you want to keep that list. You want to keep it big. You want to keep,
Mhm,
or you want it to grow. Well, I
mhm.
think so it could be that. So especially at smaller levels, don't penny pinch in that regard.
Right.
The second is it could be that they're trying to get their numbers better, and that's just like, you know entrepreneurial masturbation. Like, don't
Yeah.
yeah. So what, your open rate is bigger? That's not what
Like
should be
who
measured.
cares?
Exactly. That's what I said. You just cut your list and you just increased your open rate. Well, what have you really done? I think what's happening is advice that applies to really big companies like
Mm,
Starbucks and Coca-Cola that have, or the Gap,
mhm,
that huge mailing list. They have deliverability issues if there's not enough people that are opening, or if it's getting
mm,
bounced. And so they are constantly, I believe, constantly in the mode of kind of cleaning the list and or putting them in different segments so that they can have better deliverability from the ISPs. But like for the entrepreneurs that we will, and maybe even through your entire business cycle, you'll probably never have a list that big that you need to worry about.
mhm,
And so I think it's good to have to keep your list, and also remember that, because you can take that list to different places, because you may switch email service providers. Well, in that next list, that person, maybe the email wasn't reaching them or was going in their promo tab. Well, maybe with
mhm,
another email service provider, they do get your email, because there could be
mhm.
that kind of variability. And so, you don't want to lose someone just because your first email service provider wasn't able to get the email to that person's inbox.
Oh,
The other
interesting.
is, and it's a little more complicated, but like for right now, you can upload your email lists into Facebook, you can upload them into LinkedIn, and you can deliver
Mhm.
ads to them. So maybe somebody isn't opening
Mm,
your email, or maybe they're not even seeing it, or they're not seeing it a lot because it does get delivered to the the promotions tab.
mhm.
If you upload them into a social media platform, they may then see your ads. So that's another
That
reason
is
why you don't want to
super
leave.
interesting.
Yeah. So
So it's another way to, so some people might say, well, Kathy, that doesn't make sense. Why would I spend money on paid ads if the person's already on my list?
well, that's another. I mean, I've always like, you want
Yes.
duplicity, or because some people
Repetition.
repetition, exactly, or is that somebody may see your ad, may not see your email, or they didn't open it, or they never checked the
Right.
email that they opted to. A lot of us have different email addresses, but then they'll be able to see your ad. Or or they work in concert, like they see the subject line but they didn't open it, but then they see an ad, it's like, oh yeah, she was talking about that new product. And so
Mhm.
they're really synergistic.
I love that. Probably a lot of us here in our audience today, perhaps you didn't realize that you can do that, right?
Yeah,
You can
yeah, it's
upload an
real.
email list. That's I think, a great nugget right there. And I think a really, really great use of ad spend, in all
Yeah,
honesty,
for sure,
is
for sure.
to upload your list and target ads to your email list.
Yeah,
Because again, you do want that repetition in terms of messaging. I
right.
mean, gosh, it's been shown over and over
Yeah,
again that people need to see that same message multiple times. I mean, it used to be seven. I think, oh my gosh,
it's
like
really
it's at
70
least
now.
11 now, right?
Right.
Um,
And remember, like an email, they'll see words, and in an
yeah,
ad, they're most likely to see your images. So
yeah,
again, they're working, you get the repetition, but you also get the variety, I guess, in the senses of how
exactly.
someone sees your
So let's talk about
brand.
those five big yet easy strategies to grow an audience, shall we? And by the way, what's the ideal size of an audience before we jump into how to grow it? Like, I
You
get
know,
that question, like, how many people do I need? So
you don't
I'm
need any. You
curious.
just, I don't think there's any, which, like, we all know, ladies, size doesn't matter. And so, what I think is important is just that you're always growing your list and you're always
Mhm.
talking to your list.
Yeah,
That's what's most important. So if you have one person, treat them like gold. If you have
yeah,
100-person gold, 1,000, 100,000, just really treat them, you know, the way you'd want to be treated in a
yeah,
in-person relationship. Don't
yeah,
demand that they respond, or you're going to,
right.
give them silent
Yeah,
treatment or
threaten
delete them.
them.
And
Yeah.
don't
So,
leave them
guys,
hanging, you
even if
know?
you have one person on your list, you've got to have a strategy to nurture them and to
Yeah,
stay in touch with
exactly.
them. Don't feel like you have to wait like until you have a whole bunch of people. You have that one human being on your list, treat them like gold, right? I
Yeah.
think that's the big takeaway. So let's talk about those five big yet easy strategies that you are recommending to help everyone here grow their own audience? What would you say? What's the
Well, we
first
talked
thing?
about, you're going to have the lead magnet. And
Yep.
to your point, you want to be able to, your lead magnet's going to have a URL because it's going to be on a web page. So, and make sure you have it on the web page. I know a lot of people, they just have the pop up on their
Mm-hmm.
homepage, but you want to have a standalone page that you can hand out. You can post the URL of that page on wherever, I'm going to give you some ideas for how to do
Okay.
that. And that's again why I say for people that are starting either ConvertKit or MailChimp, because both of those email service platforms have landing pages that you can
Mm.
create that already have the technical magic so that somebody, when they opt in, it goes onto your list. Because in some of it, if you create the page in Squarespace, then you have to get the HTML code, or you have to get the code so that it works
Mm-hmm.
with your email service provider. You don't have to worry about any of that. So that's one way. That's one reason why I recommend either of those two options. So now
Okay.
you've got this URL. You want to sprinkle it wherever you can on all your social media platforms. So that's
Mm-hmm.
like, but then to go deeper on that, here are some ideas that, I know, Leslie, that you've taken advantage of. And so what I say is, you're going to create that opt in, but you can also create another opt in that has it's more like a little bit of it's like a hybrid. It's like, I call it a signature page. And it's a hybrid between a little bit about you and then receiving, and then an opt in. And that's the one that you're going to want to use. I call it like a signature page.
Mm-hmm.
Use it in your signature on your emails, if, wherever you are, so that people click on that rather than just going to your homepage. Because when they go to their homepage, you can kind of get overwhelmed. There's a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you're going to do. And then another strategy we've talked about is like to be really active in your organization, your community. And that can
Mm.
be offline and online. So I know, Leslie, you were like on the board of some organizations,
Yeah.
and so that's a great way to be in a place where you can expose people to your opt-in,
Yeah.
because
It's huge.
yeah, because
So
you'll have your
yeah.
signature link you'll have your signature, and then usually you have a link. If you're sending out emails to the group, or your name is there, they're going to be going and checking out who you are. We're always curious who people are. So I mean, one, it's just a good thing to do, but it also helps grow your list and your audience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm such a proponent of just getting out there
Yeah,
and, getting, networking, just talking to people and honestly, volunteering, like especially if it's a group where your ideal client is hanging out, right? I
exactly,
think
exactly.
that's the key. Look at who is a part of that group. And certainly if your ideal client is like in that group, then that's a great opportunity for you, for sure.
Yeah.
It gives you exposure, leadership. I
Well,
mean, oh my God,
exactly.
there's so many options. Like you can do webinars for that group. You can do there's just so many things. So certainly at the end of the day, it's going to help you to grow your audience.
Yeah. So being a leader in your industry, taking advantage of volunteering opportunities. I was on the board of the Women's Jewelry Association when I was a jewelry designer,
Mm,
and that really helped my visibility and gave me opportunities to put my work out there in ways that I wouldn't have otherwise. So,
yeah,
there's not, once you're doing it, you have to just kind of have your eagle eye up and look for opportunities.
yeah,
But just to Leslie's point, just being a leader is going to help you with that. So a
yeah.
second thing I would recommend is that you do blog posts,
Mm,
content websites, and you could probably also do them on social media. I mean, just any kind of guest posts.
hmm.
They're always looking for content, providers. There's always people who are looking for different opinions. They don't want to create all the content, and so a lot of content providers want, invite in guest speakers, if you will,
Oh,
guest
so
writers.
like, so get you're talking not so much about your own blog, but being a guest blogger.
Yeah, so either being a guest blogger, they probably have the equivalent. So either the a blog post that then gets published on Facebook or has links on
Mm,
Instagram. But find places where you can be a guest speaker or guest writer.
mm,
And
hmm.
as you know, the guest always has a link, whether it's at the top or in the byline or at the bottom. There's like a very short summary. For the URL that you provide that signature URL as opposed to just your homepage. Like be very deliberate that you're driving people to an opt-in. So that, again, it's just a little bit of information about you, but you're giving people the incentive to sign up on your list when they go and research who you are.
Yeah, so, and I just got to share with everybody. For a couple of years when I first started this business in the business coaching space, that was all I had for like a couple of years, actually.
Yeah.
So I can attest to the idea that it works.
Yeah.
It really works. So like, you guys don't really need a huge, amazing, fancy website with like 20 pages on it to start. Really, if you have a landing page, so we're kind of using these terms interchangeably, like a signature page, landing page, whatever you want to call it, a little bit about yourself, the work that you do with a freebie, a lead magnet.
Yeah.
I think you're good to go to start. I really do.
Absolutely. I agree. And the goal is just to get that link out to wherever you can. And then make sure that when people land on it, again, they get a little information of you, they have an incentive to sign up for your list. And sometimes simple is better. With some websites are so complicated, but, you get an idea of it and you kind of walk away.
Well, and that's just to be clear for everybody, the reason we're saying have a simple signature page, landing page, whatever you want to call it, a freebie, page, registration, there's a bunch of different names for it. That is the reason, because if you send people to a website to download your freebie, the tendency, and they've done lots of studies on this, the tendency is to, the person lands there and they're like, oh, let me check things out. And they don't even they don't take any action, right? Because they kind of forget what they're there for, because we're also distractible now. So that's really the rationale. So you want to send them to a place, a single page that's relatively simple with that one call to action on it, right? And you're much more likely to be able to capture that lead into your email list if you do that.
Yeah. So,
that's a great one.
So just be looking, because people are always looking for content more content. I mean, just like we are like, oh my God, I have to write a blog post, I have to write a newsletter. Yeah. Everyone's going through that dilemma. So the next one is what I would do is I would create a page on your website that answers a question, or that you can drive, that you don't drive traffic. So the whole goal of this is so that it ranks in a search engine. Yeah. And what you want to do is you want to have one or two primary keywords in the title, in the URL of your page, and then have a post that answers that question with your freebie on it.
Oh, okay.
So they're sometimes called pillar posts, but it's just one really good page. It doesn't necessarily have to be on your blog. It's just a page that you create, or a landing page, and just make sure that the keywords are in the title when you create, so that it'll be in the URL, and then put a few of the keywords in the post itself, or in the web page itself, and have it end up on your freebie. And so then that way, when people are searching for a question in Google or Bing, your page comes up.
I see. Okay.
So you're going to have it on your, you're going to have it, obviously, if you have it on your homepage, if you have a landing page that's your freebie that you'll drive traffic to. This is a separate page, and the whole goal is to see if you can get some SEO, traffic to it.
Okay. So the important thing I'm hearing is you got to do a little keyword research, probably, right?
Exactly.
To figure out, well, what keywords do I want? So kind of
and I wouldn't get crazy on this.
Yeah.
People ask you the question, and that question is the keywords. Whether they're asking you about list building, audience building, if you're asking you about weight loss, if they're asking you about keto diets or diabetes, those are the words, and you could drive yourself crazy, but there's so much, but somebody will find you. Like if you just allow it to rank in the search engine, and maybe it will be page 14, but I guarantee you somehow traffic will get to it. Yeah, and all it does is help you. So that's another way that you can have.
So this is separate than a blog?
Yeah, this is separate.
Okay,
I mean,
so this is separate than a blog. It's just like a separate, is this a tab in the website?
No, I wouldn't even make it a tab.
Okay,
I would just make it a page on your website. I mean, you could do it in your blog, because sometimes that's easier for people, it can be in the blog, but it's a page on your website that has the keywords where and there's a post about it. Maybe it answers a question, but it also leads to your freebie is really obvious. Because on a blog page, it may not be as obvious, but this one is, again, because, and one thing that it can do, yes, it can drive traffic, from your ideal client, but back to the previous strategy, it could drive traffic to people that you want to guest post for. Because they do research too to try and find new voices and new people to talk to. So create this kind of pillar post. Like I said, you're not gonna see it right away because it's got to rank, and you probably won't rank. You're not going to rank on, like I said, you probably won't rank on page 1 unless you have some really interesting niche keywords. But just put it there and let it sit and let it grow like, a potted plant. And you will be surprised how much traffic you get to it and what kind of surprise people visit it and find you.
I love that. That's a great strategy.
And then the last one is paid ads. And paid ads is such a great way to drive is to get opt-ins, because you can target the people who are your ideal clients, and you send them to the exact page you want with the exact verbiage and message that you want to influence them, and you can see right away if they're going to opt in. So not only is it a great way to build your list, it's a great way to test your message, and it's a great way to test your audience. And you can do it. And I recommend doing list building every single day with ads.
Yeah.
And you can spend $5 to $10 a day, a really small investment. And over time, just like the potted plant, it's going to grow too, and it's going to be big. And so I think that's a really critical part of list building, is having that, because you can control how much, over time you'll understand like how much it costs per lead, on your different ad platforms. And then you can make projections on how big your list can be.
I love that. So, and just to kind of go a little deeper, this is a strategy that I do.
Yeah, it's a great effect, right?
So Kathy and I mean, this is really the bulk of our work together is, so yes, do we do intense list building before a launch? Absolutely, right? Like we really ramp things up. Let's talk a little bit about what we do inside of my business.
Okay.
Year round. Let's kind of share with people just so they kind of get a sense of, of the strategy there. So do you want to expound on that a little bit, Kathy?
Yeah. I mean, our strategy is really simple. I mean, we've over time. So what the strategy is we build lists. We add, and success is adding individuals that are in Leslie's target to the list. And so what we started out with is we started testing a lot of different audiences. And over time, we narrowed it down to a few audiences that have been really fertile for building her lists. And we've tried, a lot of, as you know, Leslie, a lot of different tactics. And so now we have it's a pretty small daily budget. And, but it's like, it's just like saving money for college. Like if you just put a little in every single day, you'll really see the fruits of that effort over time. And so that's one of our biggest list building strategies. And then the other is, honestly, doing your Facebook Lives. This is how we nurture the list, that we offer these live. We send send the topic and the information out to your list. We also do a little bit of list building. It's not list, but we also do a little bit of exposure to people that aren't on your list for these Facebook Lives. And then we retarget them with the opportunity.
Now, how do you do that? Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
So this is, can you do another? So what Facebook allows you to do is Facebook, by dint of what they call their Facebook pixel, it's a small piece of
Mhm.
code that you put on your website. Facebook has a lens into all your traffic.
Okay.
So it's a little, we give Facebook that permission, but what they give you is that they'll allow you to then target people who've been on your website. So then you can target people who've been on your website, and you can, because like we talked about earlier, you can upload a list of your email list into Facebook. You can exclude people who are already on your list from seeing the ads. And so that way you
Mm,
can really hone in on people that have either interacted with you on Facebook, on your business page, and or have visited your website.
okay.
And so
So
that's generally
interesting.
called targeting. So you can target people who've been on your website.
Which is another really great use of ad spend,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Because
if you were to pick two, yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
oh no, no, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, so if you were to pick just a couple of like the best uses of ad spend money, would you agree that it would be retargeting people that have visited your site and uploading your current email list?
Yeah, if you're gonna want to, I mean, if you're gonna want to sell courses or workshops or drive attendance to a webinar,
Mhm.
definitely the retargeting is the best way
Okay.
to use your ad spend because those people should know you and they should be warmed up to you, and you just need to
Mhm.
give them that little bit more punch in order
Yep.
to move them over into registering for a webinar or signing up for a discovery call or signing up for a course. One thing though, but I do say is that, because with ads we're so focused on rate of return and I
Yep.
spent X and I got Y, but I think
Yes.
one of the other best use of ad spend is investing in your business, is getting people on your list. If you
Mhm.
can spend that amount that you would spend on such a, on a latte or a smoothie, if you can put it towards, driving leads to, driving potential traffic to your lead magnet and getting people on your
Mhm.
list, really the return, and then you spend your energy using your email service to keep them warmed up, driving them
Yes.
to your social media posts, your social media activity. You really have just a powerhouse there that to work from when you're ready to sell your courses or sell your services.
And
And you
guys,
can target.
I just want to emphasize real quick the importance of doing this
Yeah,
year round, right?
yeah,
Because it's just if you wait until you've got a big launch, okay, great. So you get new people on your list. The challenge with that, though, is
yeah,
that they may not be warmed up enough. They may not feel comfortable yet in investing in that course that you're selling, right?
yeah,
Sometimes that takes time, that nurturing process. So, my best recommendation is do list building year round.
yeah.
Really, like become obsessed with list building, right?
I'm. I mean, I agree 1,000%. I mean, that's how I grew my jewelry business, and I made it really successful. Is I was always
Mhm.
focused on adding to the list. I wasn't as concerned about selling as I was about getting people on my list
Right.
because I knew it took quite a bit of exposure until they were ready to buy. And so I think of it like eating your veggies or exercising. Like it doesn't work if you do it once you like. I mean, once you
Yeah.
find out you have
Well,
cancer or diabetes, but
right.
if you do it every single day, you'll be a healthy person. And if you build your list every day, you'll have a healthy business. And
Yeah.
so,
So
yeah,
as we kind of wind things down, what would you say, what is like a top mistake you see
I
that
think
business
people just
owners
give,
make?
I think that's it. I think the top mistake is just kind of giving up because people aren't opting in, not,
Mm.
or just not doing the work or just feeling like it doesn't matter, that,
Hmm.
and then not nurturing their list. Thinking
Okay.
I only have 30 people on my list. Why do I bother? They're not opening it and getting discouraged
Okay.
rather than just like really just doing the work every day, no matter if there's crickets or not.
Okay.
You
I
know,
agree. You just declare you're doing it
yeah,
and
exactly.
you just
And you
do
just do
it,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Like you have to show up. I would look at it like an obligation to your audience to show up, to be
totally.
there for them. So
Exactly.
definitely. And the other thing that you said, I think is really key as well, Kathy,
Uh-huh.
because I mean, I hear it. People get discouraged and frustrated, like no one's opting in, no one's grabbing my freebie. Like, what do
Yeah.
you say about that?
I think you still do it, and to your point earlier is that you just start
Hmm.
testing different titles, start testing, different messages. Also start
Hmm.
trying to find other places that you can place your freebie. And
Yep.
then you may want to try, that's why I think ads are great because you can test different freebie options and different
Hmm.
messages and different audiences. And
Hmm.
because you may get in a situation where you can only reach your audience through ads.
Hmm.
That, yeah, you can reach them through, guest posting with different influencers. That's great. But how often can you do that?
Yep.
And so, and in groups, a lot of times, you can do it, but there's maybe limitations. And
Hmm.
so you may want to invest in doing some ads so that you can start testing your freebie and start testing your
Yeah.
messaging.
Yeah. I really support that advice. I think it's super important.
Yeah.
And yeah, the biggest takeaway to me is be persistent,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Like you
Well,
got
if
to
you
show up.
and that's just part of having your own business is you've just
Mhm.
got to be persistent because you're the only one that can really figure things out. And so, you've got to figure out how to get people interested, which is on your list, and then you've got
Mhm.
to figure out how to get people to buy. And the way you figure that out is by nurturing your list,
Right.
because if you spend the time talking to them and interacting with them, you'll figure out how to get them comfortable enough and trust you enough to buy your services.
Yeah, to take that next step.
Totally.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Okay.
Kathy, I know you and I could talk all day
Oh, I
about this
know, I
stuff.
know. Be
um,
nice to your
yeah.
list, and they'll be nice to you.
Yeah. And yeah, focus on growing that list and
Yeah,
nurturing that list. And I mean, I think we can, like, there's a lot of things in life you can't promise, right?
right, right.
But like, seriously, if you show up and you're consistent and you really just really, yeah, you do it consistently. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah,
You're going to get results. There's no doubt. You can't not get results.
yeah. And what's interesting about that, and I see it in all the businesses that I work with, their list growth is correlated with their business growth. And it's not so much because
Hmm.
everybody on their list grew, but I think it's all the work that you're doing to grow your list is just growing your business, is growing you and your business.
Mm.
And so they just naturally happen. And so, because the work you have to do to grow your list is putting you out, whether it's in your community, whether it's in your, or, whether it's in your business
Hmm.
organizations, whatever you're doing, it always ends up that way. So it feels like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm not getting any results, but you
You
just
are.
may not be linear you may not be able to get
Exactly. I
that.
mean,
But
like, I go to a networking event,
you know,
two or a year ago in New York City or a year and a half ago, right?
yeah,
Sometimes that, like, I'll get a new client or someone that reaches out a year later, right?
right,
Just as
right,
an
exactly.
example. Like, you just don't know. So keep it up, stay persistent.
Do
Kathy,
all the
how
things.
can people reach out to you if they are interested in, getting some help from you?
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
they can contact me.
yeah, in terms of paid ads.
Yeah, just contact me. I'm at Kathy Low Knows. So you can, my contact
Awesome.
information is on there. Or you can send me an email. You can get that from
Okay,
Leslie.
awesome. All right,
And yeah,
guys, and I do want to let you know that I actually have a new, I'll be talking about this in the future as well, but I've put together 7 tools to help you generate more leads. So
oh,
some other tools that you might be interested in. So and I do have a landing page, but for now, let's just say for now, what I recommend is that you go to my website to grab those. It's lesliebytel.com, and you'll see a pop-up. Just populate that information and you'll get those 7 free
get your
tools.
leads.
So yeah, so really good stuff there. I've gotten great feedback so far. So yeah, so feel free to grab that. Thank you so much for joining me, Kathy. It was great connecting with you.
Yeah, likewise.
And yeah, we'll definitely do this more often.
Sounds
You have
good.
so much great knowledge to share with my audience.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for your willingness to do that. And thank you everyone for joining me, and have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye for
Okay.
now.
Good day, everyone. Bye-bye.